This is Professor Michael Chapman. I'm one of the most experienced IVF doctors in Australia. I believe that an important part that I can contribute is to educate patients in relation to fertility, infertility, and all that involves. These series of podcasts help to educate you. I hope they are helpful to you. If you wish to know more, however, I'm more than happy to have you contact me via email, which is profmchapman@gmail.com, or make an appointment to see me on 9138 4222. In 2022, the latest results from the Australian data, ANZAR, showed that the number of double embryo transfers had dropped to 7%, which is remarkable and is related to patients understanding the risk they take by having a twin embryo transfer. The only other country in the world that has a lower rate are some of the Scandinavian countries, where the Medicare rebate won't be given if you put back more than one embryo. So it's policed. Whereas in Australia, we've reached that conclusion by clinicians, the specialists, only putting one embryo back after talking to the patients and explaining the risks, why not. If unfortunately, and there are still twin pregnancies, around about I think the latest figures was 2.7% of all pregnancies after IVF, multiples. And they result from the occasional, that 7% I talked about, of double embryo transfers, which we get into that situation when we've done 1, 2, 3, 4 embryo transfers without success, and in desperation we put 2 back, and then it backfires on us. We get them pregnant, which is great, but they end up with a twin pregnancy. The 2.7 rate is actually the lowest in the world at the moment. So we're very proud of that, because we're saving babies being damaged, and we're saving the taxpayer money in terms of neonatal intensive care. In the United States, double embryo transfer 5 years ago was still around the 35 or 40% mark. It's now down to about 14%, as they have also realised the benefit of the technology that enables a single embryo transfer to have such a high chance of success. So multiple pregnancy, we're avoiding it. I said 2.7. We've got to put that in perspective, in that in nature we produce about 1% of all babies being twins without any assistance from the fertility specialist. So it is higher, and as I say, it's due to 2 things. One is that sometimes we do put 2 embryos back, and secondly, it doesn't stop a single embryo put back to divide into identical twins. So we'll always have that background rate. If you end up with a multiple pregnancy, as I've already said, it's important that that pregnancy is looked after well, because there can be problems during pregnancy. I've already mentioned prematurity as the number one problem, but one baby can grow more slowly than another and be at more risk. If the pregnancy happens to be identical twins, that increases the risks even further for the one baby or the other feeding off the placenta in an unfair way, one being fed overly and the other being fed underly. And that risk is significant. Being looked after in a tertiary unit where you've got a special care unit available is very important. When it comes to delivery, these days, particularly after an IVF cycle, almost every set of twins will be delivered by caesarean section. This is to play safe. Because although vaginal delivery is fairly safe, the things that can happen because the uterus is very enlarged and the babies have got room to move around, babies lying in the wrong way is not uncommon, particularly for the second twin. And that second twin can get caught and not be deliverable easily, and we may end up even having to do a cesarean section, even though the first baby is delivered normally. So being in the hands of an expert in feto-maternal medicine is probably where you should be if you end up with a twin pregnancy.
And don't forget that you can access all the previous episodes by going to our website www.theivfjourney.com and select IVF Journey podcast from the navigation menu.